There are tons of laptops out there, and as consumers, we are really spoiled for choice. There is, however, one series of laptop that has been around for quite some time and has built a reputation befitting its name. Today, we are taking a look at the new and improved Acer Swift 5, and this is a laptop that hits all the right notes. The first thing that you will notice when you pick up this laptop is the weight, and perhaps more accurately, the lack of it. Despite being a 14-inch laptop, the Swift 5 weighs a mere 1 kilogram. This is thanks to the use of magnesium lithium and magnesium aluminium to craft the chassis. To be frank, we already knew the specs before we even got our hands on it, but the weight really catches you off guard, especially so when it doesn't look like it's skimping out on anything physically. Slip it in the bag, carry it around in a sleeve, you name it. It's light enough that you might not even notice it at all. We also do really like this colorway, which Acer calls Mist Green. We would say that it's a rather classy color that shows a hint of personality while being quite subdued. The color is also paired with a hint of gold, which can be found on the hinge, the logo itself, and right down to the legends on the keycaps. We would say that in this industry where laptops are mostly grayscale, green is quite a nice touch. With a 14-inch laptop, you of course get a 14-inch display. This is an IPS panel featuring a full HD resolution, up to 100% sRGB coverage, up to 340 nits in max brightness, and it also has touch support. To keep it simple, it is a fantastic display, be it for light browsing, videos one after the other on YouTube, or even simple creative work in Lightroom or Photoshop. Despite having relatively thin bezels, Acer still places the webcam at the right spot.
It is a standard 720p webcam, and I would say that the image quality is passable just like most other laptops out there. Same goes for the microphone quality. In any case, if you just need a webcam, it is located at the right spot and it just works.
This next point would be a familiar sight to you if you ever used Acer laptops. It's pretty much their standard keyboard layout that they use for quite a number of models. Nothing more, nothing less. Our only gripe would be the arrow key cluster and the position of the power button, but those are honestly pretty minor and it's ultimately preference. You'll get used to it with time. Talking about the trackpad, it's the same story. It performs great and is of a decent size, no complaints whatsoever. Now, though the webcam doesn't support facial recognition via Windows Hello, Acer does have a fingerprint scanner located right below the arrow key cluster. As for ports, you'll get standard USB 3.2 and your 3.5mm combo jack on the right side, while you get an additional USB 3.2, full-size HDMI, Thunderbolt 4 and a small barrel plug for the included charger. All of that on the left. Speaking of which, battery life. Acer does claim an all-day battery of up to 17 hours, but obviously, you won't really get anywhere near that number if you were to use the laptop normally. But with that said, battery life is where this laptop really surprised me. With that 56 Wh battery, the Swift 5 was able to last me 9, almost 10 hours on a single charge. Compared to other laptops in the same class, this is above average. For those of you in school, you might be able to get away with not having your charger with you for the day. We then come to performance, and for our model, the Swift 5 is equipped with an Intel Core i7-1165G7, 16GB of RAM, and 1TB of NVMe SSD storage. It scored a solid 1442 and 501 in Cinebench R20 for both multi-thread and single-thread respectively, while also being able to render our standard project in DaVinci Resolve in 23 minutes for the 1080p and 43 minutes for the 4K. If you are interested in gaming, it can handle and provide a decent entry-level experience, with most games hitting at least 30 frames per second, and you can get even more frames should you dabble with the settings. Thus far, you might notice that not all Core i7-1165G7s are the same. There are 15 and 28W variants, and it also depends on the manufacturer to decide the kind of thermal solutions and performance profiles for their laptops. For the Swift 5, it comes with the 15W variant of the Intel Core i7, and yes, while it does have slightly lower performance, there's one key advantage, and that's temperatures. The chip barely hit 80 degrees Celsius in extended workloads, mostly hovering in the mid-70s at best, and the fans weren't really running at full speed either, so it was a rather quiet experience throughout. If I'm looking for a laptop to be my daily driver, be it for school or for work, the Swift 5 honestly hits that sweet spot. And that's really the conclusion to this laptop. Strictly speaking, there really isn't anything unique about this laptop apart from the colorway. It is simply a great laptop that has everything you would want for a daily driver. Arguably the best factor? It's really light. But of course, it also has a good IPS display, a no-nonsense keyboard and trackpad, plenty of ports, support for Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1, and despite all that, still has great battery life with ample performance for light tasks. So yeah, this laptop isn't really unique in one way or the other, but it does hit all the right notes, and it really shows. If I was a student or perhaps an office worker, the Acer Swift 5 is a laptop that would really entice me. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comment section down below, and if there are affiliate links in the description box, do check them out, and if you do, thanks for the support. Don't forget to subscribe to us, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Till the next one, see ya!